Blake Lively. Part 9. What is she really like? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing my analysis of Blake Lively to make a determination as to what she is, and looking at examples of her behaviour when she has not been involved with Ryan Reynolds either before their relationship arose or away from his physical proximity, to help us make a determination as to what she might be. Next, we consider some footage from a Simple Favour film promo. I'm not able to show you this actual footage for copyright reasons. However, Lively openly stated during a Simple Favour movie promo that studios wanted her to look sexy. Yet she never sued them or seemed offended in the least. That because she may well have regarded it as a simple compliment, or, were she a narcissist, being described as such in circumstances that are favourable to her is not only a compliment, but it provides her with fuel. And however, when Justin Baldoni describes her character's outfit the same way, it suddenly becomes inappropriate workplace conduct and sexual harassment. Thus, studios and directors are allowed to call her sexy, and she's allowed to call her own characters that, but when Justin Baldoni describes them as sexy, well, that becomes a problem. And you see, it's not so much about what he has said, but about what it represents in the context of her likely wanting to achieve something else. And thus, this different stance with regard to being called sexy surely demonstrates hypocrisy on the part of Blake Lively. Now, just because someone is a hypocrite, it doesn't mean that they're a narcissist, but once again, this contradictory behaviour, when seen with other behaviours, starts to paint a particular picture in respect of what this person is and how they behave. Our next instance involves the consuming of a gin drink. Lively pushed a journalist to drink her husband's gin on camera in a toe-curling interview. Again, I'm not able to provide you with the actual footage as a consequence of copyright reasons. But Magnus Sundholm, who interestingly happens to be the boyfriend of Kjersti Flor, who I mentioned yesterday as the Norwegian journalist, he's an LA-based writer for Swedish newspaper Aftonbladet, and he explained that he saw the incident as sneaky, cheap and disrespectful. What happened was that Sundholm sat down with Lively at 10 a.m. in August 2018 for a short interview about her movie A Simple Favour, which was being released the following month. However, he was left shocked and uncomfortable when Lively whipped out a bottle of aviation gin, which is made by Reynolds' liquor company, and urged him to drink it at 10 a.m. The awkward exchange, which was reposted on YouTube by Sundholm last year, is demonstrative of her unpleasant behaviours. He basically said that she hijacked their 4 minutes together, which shows a lack of boundary recognition and a sense of entitlement, and she did so under the pretext of mistaking his request for a camera shot, instead referring to alcohol. Magnus, when I saw you earlier, you said, "Let me get a shot," and I thought you meant of alcohol, but you meant a photograph, Lively said in the video, while flashing a bottle of aviation gin to the camera. "So guess what? Time to put up." "Uh-oh," said Magnus, "what are we drinking?" "Aviation American gin, who's owned by a very, very sexy man who also happens to be my husband. Triangulation with object, triangulation with person, flattery." Sundholm, with an uncomfortable grimace, replies, "So we're starting early." "We are starting early," Lively said, looking at him dead on. "What better time to start?" He took a sip and told her it was good, but she complained that his voice went higher an octave, then cajoled him, "Just shoot it, just shoot it." He tries to politely refuse, saying, "I'll be singing if I finish this." Unrelenting, Lively said it'll be much more interesting. So here she is dealing with a comparative stranger, making him drink alcohol at 10 a.m, publicising her husband's gin, making the man drink it irrespective of whether he wants to or not. Sundholm said that it felt like an ambush, a carefully planned PR ambush. She used my short interview time for blatant product placement. I found it sneaky, cheap, and disrespectful. So not only does she not respect his time by plugging her husband's gin and slavering up to her husband, she then tries to make the man whose interview she's spoiling drink alcohol at a very early stage in the morning. Later on, there was a video that was posted by Hjestiflar where she talks with Magnus about this incident. His girlfriend says, "You look very uncomfortable there. You look like you were suffering a little bit and didn't know what to do." Sundholm explained, "It was early in the morning. It was kind of surreal in a way. I was there to interview her. They built a set and I was completely ambushed by her promoting her husband's gym." Most countries in the world, you can't show that. You can't have a booze commercial, basically, in what's supposed to be irregular content. She hijacked the interview. She took almost half of that interview to talk about product placement, basically. I drank gin at 10 a.m. I kind of felt I had to. You come up there after having had your cereal and milk, and then all of a sudden you get gin served on the rocks. I'm not saying a victim. I could have said no, but the whole setup was weird. It was a blatant promotional thing. I played along. I could, of course, have objected. But my job is to make this talent play along. I want to be friendly. I want her to open up. Sundholm also explained that the incident was all the more awkward given that Lively's teetotal. I thought the whole thing was strange. I still wonder why someone who doesn't drink would push alcohol on someone else. Well, wonder no more. It is demonstrative of somebody that acts with a sense of entitlement and doesn't recognise boundaries. Sundholm agreed that he felt used, noting that it was taken up, half of the time was taken up with the gin discussion. You walk out of there thinking, what the fuck's just happened? He explained that she played the same trick on the other entertainment journalists lined up to interview her during the Simple Favour movie promotion. Everyone came out after me and said, "She wanted me to drink. She was pushing the gin." Accordingly, this not only demonstrates that a set of behaviours against one individual, but it wasn't a one-off thing. That she repeatedly engaged in forcing booze, her husband's gin, on people who probably didn't want it at that time in the morning. The fact is that it was also mentioned that such behaviour is rather unethical. You're pushing booze on people without knowing their history with booze. They might be an alcoholic. It shows a lack of emotional empathy, certainly. And also, given the fact that Lively's sober herself, it might be that these individuals have alcohol issues, but she doesn't care. All she's bothered about is promoting her husband's gin and getting one over on the person that's interviewing her, in effect taking control of it. This instance is demonstrative of an individual that lacks boundary recognition. It's demonstrative of an individual that doesn't show any emotional empathy for the person that she's conducting an interview with. It shows a person who's triangulating with her husband's gin. It shows an individual that isn't showing accountability for her behaviours. All of these are narcissistic indicators, and she didn't do it once, she did it several times. The evidence continues to stack up, and there's yet more on the way in part 10. Join me there.